You know, a central theme of a lot of what we talk about when it comes to those that would disarm you, that will stop at nothing to take your rights from you under the guise of whatever it is, that they seem to have this sense of arrogance about them, particularly about the effectiveness of the programs and policies that they want to implement. And boys and girls, I've got one for you today that is like the epitome of so open-minded that the brain falls out type situation. It's not even stopping criminals from criminaling. They think with arbitrary rules and tracking, keyword, that they can stop terries from terrorizing. That and more after we hear a quick word from today's sponsor. Today's video is brought to you by XS Sites. I'm out here today preaching the good word of the XS Big Dot site. If you don't like the XS Big Dot site, then you're wrong. No, I'm just kidding. XS makes a whole bunch of different site profiles, not just the Big Dot site. They also do scope bases, optics rails, and even handguard rails now. And XS has been a long time supporter of the channel, so I very much appreciate them supporting the mission here at the VSO Gun Channel. Let's get into the video. This comes from CPR News. Could tracking denied gun sales help prevent tragedies? Experts think so. I want to see these experts. I want to know who these experts she's referring to are and whether or not they've had a lobotomy before. Oh, wouldn't you know it? There's not a damn citation in this entire article. Now, I'm not going to read all of this drivel to you. It is a complete and utter waste of your time, and I do not suggest that you go there either. This kind of stuff never happens in a vacuum, though, and it is very important, especially in a locale like Colorado that is developing into one of those cesspits, that we gain insight into our enemy, the freedom-hating, anti-American, gun control hive smooth brain. Now, the thing about that is that it's like the warp. It's really dangerous to go in there unshielded. I have done this for you so that you don't have to subject yourself to this. But to get you loaded, the underlying premise is that if you knowingly try to purchase a gun and you are a prohibited person, then that is a crime. You can be prosecuted for that. How you don't know that you're a prohibited person, not entirely sure how that happens. Maybe one of those situations where you've got one of those sealed red flags against you, which is another reason among many why it's unconscionable and unconstitutional, why that sort of thing exists in this country, but we have beat that horse beyond death at this point in time. Anyway, that is a crime. However, most of the time, those sort of offenses don't really get prosecuted. Very few of them do. And usually when they are prosecuted, they are part of something else. So it's a tag on that is added to some other thing that you've done. They picked you up for drug trafficking and you had a gun on you. So then they like go back and they're like, well, how did you get the gun? Oh, well, you tried to purchase a gun and you failed. So then you straw purchased, or you see what I'm saying? So like, it's an additive thing that they just tack on the end. Usually, just going in, I'm not suggesting that anybody go do this, but usually they're just not really the manpower to follow up on every single one of those instances. And again, remember, litigate that and prove that that person didn't know that they were a prohibited person. Because remember, the median IQ in the United States hovers around the mid-90s. To understand that, we're just gonna accept the article's numbers. 14 people a day in Colorado alone, let alone the rest of the United States, try to purchase a firearm, even though they're not legally allowed to possess a gun, whether you believe that that should be a thing or not. That's a lot of instances. Now let's get to the meat and potatoes. You ever seen this dude before? Tom Sullivan. I mean, he is a Colorado State Senator, so you may not have if you're not from Colorado, but I assure you, he is a rising star on my shit list because he is the epitome of a freedom-hating, anti-American douchebag. I mean, we're talking like full-on standing on the graves of the dead shortly after a tragedy has happened. We're talking like, Teamster labor union and, by the way, I was in the Air Force, so I know everything about guns. That kind of dude. We're talking like, I mean, just look at him.
I believe that, something can change.
This dude has been in a cage for a long time. A firebombing attack in Boulder that killed one person and injured more than a dozen others. Mohammed Suleiman's attempt last year to buy weapons in many ways exemplifies the strengths and shortcomings of Colorado's system to prevent people from buying firearms when they're not legally able to have them. In November, Suleiman tried to purchase guns at a Colorado Springs gun store to carry out his attack. In his firearm application, he was flagged as someone without legal status to be in the country, which disqualifies him from buying guns in Colorado. No law enforcement agency acted on it or even made note of Suleiman's gun purchase attempt. The following month, in December, Suleiman tried to obtain a concealed carry permit from El Paso County, to no avail. Authorities were again flagged about that via the same instant notification system. Again, no one took any action. Now our quote from Tom Sullivan. If someone had shown up at his house or someone had called him on the phone several times and said, okay, you are in violation. It's a $500 fine if you don't pay within 30 days. Maybe he would have been like, oh my goodness, someone saw me, and then they would rethink what they're doing. Instead, Suleiman was arrested 6 months later on Boulder's Pearl Street Mall, half naked, burned on his arms after allegedly tossing 2 Molotov cocktails into a crowd of peaceful demonstrators. Okay, so let me get this straight. If we had called him or we had threatened to fine him, he'd been like, oh my gosh, they caught me. Oh my gosh, whatever am I going to do? Oh, Goofy, what do we do? I don't know, Mickey. We can't be doing that thing that we were going to do, though. By golly, you're right, Goofy. We'd better take all that petrol and those glass bottles and those rags back to Home Depot. Because they got us. Look, I can't say this on this platform, but y'all can read and you can see the details on the screen. There was no stopping that one. It had nothing to do with the fact that nobody called him or bothered him or threatened to fine him for trying to purchase a gun. It's immaterial. I don't know. I've never made one of those things before, but given the details, a Perrier bottle, which is the most expensive part of the entire transaction, and I don't know, $3 in fuel. Really? Really? They think, no, they know that the people that read that are that dumb. But you aren't. This is absolutely ridiculous, but it gives you some insight into the psychosis, the brain rot that we're working against. And now, at least today, you know that you don't have anything to worry about from the opposition on that field. Good gravy. Now, for clarity, I would also say, and you guys likely all know this, sound off in the comment section down below if you do, but that incendiary device that was mentioned is an NFA item. So there's already laws against that sort of thing. Big, hefty laws against that sort of thing. They are a destructive device. And being someone who is a federal firearms licensee, somebody tried to transfer one of those things to me one time. And the ATF came to me and they're like, do you even want this thing? I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Right? And they showed me a photo of it. I was like, well, that's kind of hilarious. I kind of do want that thing. But it ended up not going through. Super duper hyper illegal. Well, that worked. Government. Batting 1,000. And in closing, this is where it gets really insidious, though. Experts say There's those ethereal experts again. The gun purchase denials, which are immediately reported to local law enforcement, federal immigration officials, and some prosecutors, could be useful intelligence. It could point officers to people in the state who may bear further scrutiny before being granted access to sensitive jobs in areas like hospitals, law enforcement, or national security work. They could also be used as fodder for tips, and they could help fill out a criminal background profile. What they want is if somebody's denied for a gun, could be a technicality, could be just an honest mistake, a miscommunication in the system or something like that. I see it all the time when it comes to people getting delayed. There was one guy that used to come in, he would get delayed every single time. 2 hours delay. Couldn't explain it. Squeaky clean background. If you get denied, they want that to show up on your job application background check. Look, these people will tell you where they're going every single time.